If you want to know the biggest reason for the massive success that Apple now enjoys, then you need to watch this video. You'll be amazed. The real reason for their success is not what you think.
Their success is not just all about technological advancements, although that certainly does help. No, the real reason behind the success of products like the iPhone or the iPad is actually something much simpler. But we'll get to that later.
This is the first in a series of videos where we are going to talk about everything you need to know about leadership training.
And we're going to look at advanced strategies that some of the most successful companies in the world are using right now, as well as letting you in on some cool leadership training tips and techniques.
Our brand new guide on leadership training has just been published and we're really excited to be able to share it with you now. We've been working on this for over a year and the feedback we've had so far has been amazing.
So if you want more tips and techniques on how to improve your leadership skills, check out our leadership training guide on our website at curiouscommunicator.com. And if you want to keep updated on all our latest videos, go subscribe to Curious Communicator TV. Just click the subscribe button below this video.
And don't forget to watch the video all the way to the end to get your free copy of our leadership training pack. It's completely free.
So what's the one thing that makes the biggest difference between those managers who claim to be great leaders and those who actually are? Any ideas? Well, it comes down to one word: feedback.
That's right, the ability to be able to give and receive effective, honest feedback. Now, a lot of people think giving honest feedback is really tricky, especially when feedback is negative. But guess what? Feedback doesn't have to be awkward at all.
In fact, we're confident that by the time you've watched this series of videos, you won't have any problems in delivering effective feedback at all. Let's look at a few examples of how feedback works in the real world.
The fact is, customers today demand more for less, and businesses of every kind must constantly innovate if they're going to remain competitive. Let's take Apple as an example of this phenomenon. Remember earlier when we said we would tell you the biggest reason for their success? Well, here it is. It's feedback.
That's right. If Apple hadn't responded to their customers' feedback, things like the screens are too small, or I'd love a better camera, or the battery doesn't last long enough, then they would have never changed the design of their original mobile phone. Imagine if they were still producing their 3G model after all these years.
The reason Apple is so good at innovation and constantly improving their delivery of top-end products, think iPods, iTunes, Apple Music, is that they listen to their customers' feedback. But they actually go one step further. They actively seek out that feedback.
Now, Apple doesn't get defensive when their customers tell them something could be better. So why do your employees? And maybe you do too. You'll have to wait a little longer for the answer to that important question.
So before we can answer that, we need to understand what happens when there is no process in place for receiving feedback, be it from customers or employees.
So a good example to compare would be the fortunes of rival phone company BlackBerry. You remember them? In comparison to the iPhone, the BlackBerry phone didn't change much at all. By the time it did, BlackBerry had lost a huge chunk of their market share. Take a look at what happened to them.
Now, most customers are quite happy to give their feedback very openly and honestly. Unfortunately, this is not usually the case in the workplace. Many companies don't even ask for employee feedback, and any feedback they give their employees is often poorly delivered and leads to a demotivated and unhappy workforce.
And this is even more difficult to get a head round when we look at all the surveys that have been done on employee feedback. Now, it's a well-known fact that 65% of employees say they want more feedback. Employees who get good feedback on a regular basis are 30 times more likely to be fully engaged in their role.
So, you have to ask yourself a question. With so much evidence showing that giving feedback to employees is such a positive thing for both employees and employers, why do so many leaders and managers avoid giving feedback?
Well, let's throw another stat out there. In a recent survey of employees across a whole different range of companies, employees were asked if they thought their managers were effective at giving feedback. The results were staggering. Only 6% of those asked thought their manager was effective in giving them feedback.
So that means that 94% thought their manager was not giving great feedback. And that's no surprise when you think about it. Giving feedback is a skill, and like all skills, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Most managers have had zero training in how to give feedback effectively. It's no wonder managers sit in the 94%.
And most of us have been taught from an early age, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. This is great advice for ensuring that you stay really quiet around underperformers, but not so good if you want them to improve. Rather than silence, the right approach should be feedback given honestly, delivered fairly, and with respect.
There are hundreds of ways that receiving feedback can be done badly, and any one of these can get you unwanted and undesirable side effects. So practicing how to receive feedback the right way is critical for you to stay in front in your organisation and stay ahead of the pack the way Apple does in their industry.
Now remember to get your copy of our leadership training pack sent directly to your email address immediately. Just click the link in the description box below. It's full of valuable advice and it's totally free.
Well, that's it for this first video in our leadership training series. We hope the video has helped you to understand the importance of giving feedback and the difference that it can make.
In our next video in this series, we will tell you how to give that feedback the right way, as well as learning how to avoid all the pitfalls that come from delivering feedback badly.
If you've learned some cool stuff on today's video, make sure you subscribe to our channel right now. Just click on the subscription button below this video.
And also, if you want more tips to help you improve your leadership and communication skills, head over to curiouscommunicator.com and sign up to the newsletter. You'll receive exclusive tips and techniques that we do not share anywhere else, and it's free.
Now it's your turn. Let us know how your organisation receives employee feedback, or maybe they don't. Either way, let us know by leaving a comment in the box below.